Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another UK&I D-Link webinar. Here with myself today, I'm Alan Jones. I'm the marketing manager for D-Link UK&I, and with me today, making a debut on the UK&I webinars, is Phil Huang, who is our, let me get this right, Phil, Field Application and Business Development Manager.
That's correct, Alan.
Thank you. I got it right. That's a good start to the webinar. Phil's been with us for many years over here at D-Link, but he is new to the UK&I team. But he's gladly joined us today to provide some insight and walk through some of the great products that we've got lined coming to the market in 2025. So just as a precursor, there's quite a lot in here in terms of products that are coming. So we're going to be fairly brief on each one without going into too much depth. And when these products are more established or when they're close to their dates, we'll probably come back and do a more in-depth webinar to look at the finer intricacies of these products. For the last couple of years, there hasn't really been that much on the roadmap for D-Link. We've obviously launched Eagle Pro, which was a very good success for us. But for the first time, we have a lot of new stuff on the roadmap for this year. So hence the need for this webinar. So let me stop blabbering on and let's get started moving into the multi-gigabit switch section.
Phil here. So as you saw from the first slide there, just to give you some introduction on the different products that we'll be talking about during this webinar, starting with multi-gigabit switches. We'll also touch upon our new Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7 access points, as well as machine-to-machine devices that are becoming more and more popular because of the way that the world's so connected nowadays, and then also 5G fixed wireless access, which is also becoming very, very popular because of the flexibility that it gives for not just ISPs but for businesses to be able to get gigabit plus internet speeds without restrictions of the fixed line. So to start off with multi-gigabit switches, these in the past has been a while been quite expensive investment for businesses to invest in without maybe seeing real tangible benefits. But as internet speeds are now increasing to speeds gigabit and faster, as well as on the wireless side, with the introduction of from 6E and 7, where the wireless speeds are now in magnitudes of.
Yeah, I saw AX 11,000 access points earlier today, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's some good speed there. That's what we need.
So when they're in the multipliers of gigabit speeds, it means that the backbone that connects to these access points needs to be able to facilitate that speed without being the bottleneck. And because of the hardware and the technology becoming a bit more mature, it allows companies to invest in multi-gigabit switches much more easily, and but also because of the way these switches are, they are backwards compatible. So if you do invest in a multi-gigabit speeds that supports 5 gigahertz likelihood, or 10 gigabit likelihood, that the ports, these Ethernet ports, will be fully compatible with any existing equipment that you have already, without you having to rip everything up. They will just be an upgrade to allow you to make the most out of them, the faster Wi-Fi speeds that is available on new access points.
I think that's why the 2.55 and 10 gigabit models are still probably the most popular. It's even with multi-gig, they're being models that support speeds up to 400 gigabits, which I didn't know until Phil told me for this webinar. But in general, it's kind of limited by the products that you're connected it to, isn't it? Because there's no real point going much faster than 10 gigabits because of the access points that you're connected to it, or whatever else you're connecting to the switch don't need much more capacity than that.
Yeah, I mean, with regard to the devices that are available, that are available to businesses out there, 2.4 gigabit is probably the most common when it comes to connecting to these high-end access points, or these latest technology access points.
Yeah.
And then on the NAS side, the network attached storage, you do get quite commonly 10 gigabit Ethernet connections on those, and
they mainly uplinks rather than downlinks, though.
So the Ethernet port on the NAS will be 10 gigabit, and they could be easily connected to the uplinks of the switches.
That's what I think most people do, is the uplink at 10 gig.
So I think that in terms of the benefits, especially for business, it allows you it does allow you to work with larger files that are essentially stored, as well as working with cloud applications, especially nowadays. I think everyone knows that the files that we work with are just getting bigger and bigger because of the general trend of media that's been shared.
Yeah, here's a question, Phil. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but with regards to like 2.5 gig, if you're using one of these multi-gig switches at the edge, like of your connection, are laptops now coming with 2.5 gigabit ports built into them, or is there still a need to get the 2.5 gigabit USB connectors in the main? So I think that's something that a lot of people forget. They buy a very expensive switch, but then the product they're connecting it to doesn't have a gigabit port on it. So
I think many, especially in the gaming world, many gaming laptops or gaming PCs that are specifically built for to target that market do already come with 2.5 gig Ethernet connections, but it doesn't mean that you can't make use of the 2.5 connection by investing in a USB-C 2.5 gig.
I just think that if you're thinking about upgrading to multi-gig, I think it's just important to look at every step of the process, because some people will think and they'll put in a certain outlay, but then they'll get to the end, they've got 1,000 laptops to connect to these multi-gigabit switches they've splashed out for, and none of the laptops that they own are 2.5 gigabit.
I think that this problem already exists. It exists already when businesses were upgrading from fast Ethernet to
gigabit. Yes,
because back then a lot of computers were already on 10100, but it does make sense to always think about
the full range of an upgrade, otherwise you won't get the full benefits.
That's why again, coming back to what we touched on with regard to having incredible speeds on the wireless, but if it's bottlenecked by the Ethernet port, you're not really getting the most out of
100%
your investment onto your business.
Yeah, I think we've covered parts of this slide, but just to briefly go through this quickly, we've obviously not really gone out into the 6E or 7 space when it comes to access points yet, but they are on the roadmap for next year, which is going to be good news for a lot of people. And the 2.5 gigabit that we talked about from the multi-gigabit switches on the previous slide, that's going to be the best way to get the very most out of these access points. If we look at the two models on the left, the top one is our new Wi-Fi 7 model, which we will talk about in a bit more detail in the Wi-Fi 7 section at the end. And then we've also got a new range of smart access points, and these are going to be the first range of D-Link access points that mesh, basically. They're going to be Wi-Fi 6 to start with, because Wi-Fi 6 is not next gen, it's now current gen, isn't it? So they are current gen, but they're going to allow you to mesh up to 4 mesh nodes into one signal, which is going to be a new product for us to offer out.
So just let me add on a little bit to that. Yeah, D-Link has been selling wider solutions that provides seamless roaming between access points for
Yeah, a
for
number of
years.
years. Yeah.
But they tend to need to have a controller in place in order to
Yeah.
allow you to basically
Mm.
the handover. But this range of smart access points that we are looking to introduce, which also does include a Wi-Fi 7 variety
Yep.
later
Later on. Yeah.
later on, does give you the ability to create a mesh network without the need of a controller, um, up to 4 units.
Mm.
We are also introducing, business routers to go with these access points that will allow you to expand your network more, up to, I think, 15 maximum,
Wow.
for this type of I guess small to medium businesses that may not need a full-blown enterprise-wide solution that
Well,
would cost a lot more than
15 access points is a
yeah,
fair amount of coverage,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Especially nowadays with
Yeah.
Wi-Fi 6 and 7 access points
Yeah.
already
Already on
offering
coverage.
huge coverage and speed. It should be sufficient for most applications.
Okay. DMS 1250. So let's discuss the first set of the DMS 1250 switches that are coming through to us. Currently on the way into stock now are the first three sets. So we've got the DMS 10S, the 10SP, and the 12TP models pictured here. And then the larger switches in this series. So I believe there's 18 port models, 24 port models, 48 port models to follow, probably sort of
Towards the end of
next year. Yes, but we're starting with these with these smaller models to get the presence out into the marketplace. So if we look at these first three models, first of all, you can see there that we've split them up into two sections, and that's because the 1250, 10SP, and 12TP are closely related to each other. So they both offer up to 240 watts PoE. The 10SP has 8 2.5 gigabit ports, 2 SFP, whereas the 1210P has the same and 2 additional 10G ports. But the DMS 1250 10 SPL is a different unit altogether, because it's been designed with MDUs in mind. And anybody not familiar, MDU is multi-dwelling units. Yes, for media panels. So unless you've got a specialist project in mind, then probably the 10 SPL isn't the one for you. It's probably one of the former two.
So let's just start from where Alan finished off with the 10 SPO, because it's fanless. It allows you to place them into either residential or business premises, whereby you may need whether it's for noise concerns, but also for maintenance concerns, because this fanless there's one less component, moving component that can fail.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it still provides the flexibility of multiple multi-gigabit 2.5 gig ports. As well as some PoE options on those ports for you to connect things like access points and surveillance cameras.
Yeah.
The power budget on this is lower than the two on top, is because they are more designed for what Alan said, it's multi-dwelling unit applications, rather than the 10SP and 12TP, whereby they are more targeted at your normal business business layout.
Business applications. Yeah.
On the 2.5 gig ports and the 10 gigabit Ethernet ports for the 10SP and 12TP, as well as the 10 SPL, all those ports are multi-gigabit, so they will support the 10 gig, 5 gig, 2.5 gig, 1 gig, and also fast Ethernet
Can't forget fast Ethernet.
the same with the
Yeah,
SFP plus. They will not only do the 10 gig SFP plus, but also
yeah.
the 1 gig SFP as well.
Yeah. And just to mention, the one thing that I didn't say is that these are smart managed, which is quite important. We do have some additional ranges coming to our DMS 1000 series, which is the unmanaged series. We will have some PoE versions coming in there. So we are getting into multi-gig PoE in quite a wide and varied way.
So yeah, just to add a little bit on
Yep,
top of that,
no
because I
worries.
mean, D-Link is very well known for its extensive range of smart switches,
Yeah,
and in this DMS 1250 series, the switches will support I guess the usual smart switch features such
yeah,
as
yeah.
VLANs,
Mm.
spanning tree protocols, but on top of that. Our switches support things like auto surveillance VLAN and voice VLANs that automatically prioritizes those traffic so that they don't get affected by your normal traffic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this provides like layer 3 features such as static routing that gives
Mhm.
you ability again to integrate the switch into your network with more flexibility.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at that and thinking, with the multi-gig ports and cameras, especially like traditionally, like some cameras have just been fine with fast Ethernet, but with the resolution of cameras now going up to 4K, 8K increasing, the bandwidth needs of a modern day camera to produce in full 4K, 8K is going to be more than it would have been under fast Ethernet, for instance.
It's one of those things that if you build it, they will come. I think.
Yes, yeah, yes. They'll build the cameras to match. Yeah.
The main thing, the main application for the multi-gigabit speed will initially
Mm.
start with access points because there
Of
is
course,
already the
of
need.
course, yeah.
But with cameras, I'm sure at some time in the future when they can zoom in so much to see.
Well, one of the biggest points that we have in the presentation is that these are future proofing, and that's what this is about, isn't it? It's like picking up fast Ethernet in 2024, and you're not future proofed, are you? Multi gig is the way forward. It might not be necessary now, whilst most connections are still gigabit, but multi gig is the way forward, and that's why we're bringing out this range to go with all the other gigabits that we offer at the same time. So
Okay, yeah, and the very, very last point to add about it is that every single access point on these switches are surge protected, so that if you are connecting
mm,
devices outdoors to again cameras
yeah,
or access points or even access controls, there is protection against lightning strikes,
surge,
electric
yeah,
surges. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Um, DXS 3410s. Now, these are real sort of beasts of switches that we probably talk about being the core of a network. So they're layer free stackables, so similar to the 1520 series, but even higher spec than those. Are these the first switches we've got with 25 gig uplinks, Phil, or am I?
I don't think so. We did have we do already have quite
We
high
do
end
have some high-end stuff already.
DXS
Yeah,
switches
sure,
that come
sure,
with
sure.
10 gigabit plus.
But is it the first time we've got 25 gig and stacking?
I think it's the first. Wait, actually, you just caught me out there. One thing I could say is it's one of the highest port density
100%. Yes.
10
Yeah.
gigabit switches that we've brought out to date.
Yeah.
As Alan mentioned already before, these are very high performance switches that are designed
Mm.
whether to go into as a core or aggregation switches for enterprise and
Universities,
campuses, yeah.
campuses, places like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Or as aggregation switches for even larger campuses as well
Yeah.
as Metro Ethernet.
Mm.
They come with I think you can see on screen there. They come with 20
Both.
basically 20 28
Yeah.
28 10 gigabit ports in various configurations
Yes.
across the two different switches. The XY has 10 gig base T, mainly 10 gig base T plus some fiber ports, and then the SY is basically all fiber switch, along with both of them supporting for 25 gig SFP28 ports.
I'm really glad you did that part, because that part is so many numbers, crazy to read through. But yes, like we said, we won't go into super depth and detail on this, the details on the screen. But if you do need any more information, if you want to ask questions, put the question in the chat, or just we'll give out the contact details at the end to go through some of the new switches that we've got going, because we're now just about to move on to the M2M section. So Phil and myself have been talking a lot about M2M. We've been showing off our M2M products at a few shows. We're at the electric car vehicle show
at the end of this month.
At the end of this month, so you can come along and see our M2M stuff, products range, all the bits and bobs we've got for this range there. If you happen to be in and around the Excel at the time. So M2M is really growing. Phil touched on it earlier. M2M, the Internet of Things, it's all kind of locked in together there. So D-Link is looking at sort of 3 different ranges here. So we've got the DWM, the DOM, and the DTM. So the DWM is primarily the range we're going to be talking about today. And as you can see from the diagram there, I hope it's visible for everybody. The DWMs are mainly around smart business, office, smart city. The DTMs, probably the T stands for transport. So that will be smart vehicles. And then for industry, we've got the DOM. And I don't know what the O stand for on that, but I'm sure that we'll be able to bring that information by the time we have those products in stock. So we're going to be talking about the DWM range, and the DWM range is going to be a little bit hard to follow because it's split across the 2 slides here. So basically, the DWM 311 is basically the little brother of the DWM 314. So whatever the DWM 311 does, the DWM 314 basically doubles it, or does it better, or has more ports. So that's how we can distinguish between these two. So the first 2 models, we've got the DWM 311, DWM 314T, and then the DWM 311G and 314G. Now, the difference between those 2 models is one set of models is 4G, so that'd be the 311 and the 311T, and then the 311G and the 314G are 5G. So the G basically in this stands for 5G. Yeah. To keep the 2 models from separate. And then we've got 2 more models in each series on the next slide. So bear with us as we go through this. But you can see down there, as I said earlier, the DWM 311, 1 gigabit port, whereas the 314 has 4 Ethernet ports, fast Ethernet ports. And then on the 5G model, the 311 has 1 2.5 gigabits, whereas the 314 has 4 gigabit Ethernet LAN ports. So basically the model there, whether you've got multiple uses or just the one use to choose between the 2.
So to just jump in on to add on what Alan's mentioned, with regard to the port configuration, there is a reason behind
yes.
the why you're getting 1 gigabit port and 4 fast Ethernet ports on a 4G model. The 4G speeds that are available on the DWM 311 and 314 provides you a maximum download speed of 150 megabits per second and upload speed of 50. It doesn't really make sense to stick 4 gigabit ports on a device that only has 150 megabit per second uplink to the internet, and that's why for the higher port number, the port speed, the port connectivity speed is lower. Likewise with the 5G. The 5G in non-standalone mode gives you a maximum of 3.4 gigabit download. Again, when split across the different port configurations, it doesn't make sense to have
2.5 doesn't make sense.
that obviously
it keeps the cost down. It keeps the cost of the
exactly.
units down. So
the DWM314G also gives you ability to have dual SIM to provide redundancy in case should one operator's coverage or connection goes down for whatever reason. All these devices they support VPN, so you can have a private connection to for your M2M deployment, and all our M2M devices are centrally manageable through our DEX management system, and this is basically a cloud-based management platform that allows you to monitor, configure,
firmware updates, all that kind of stuff. Can handle the lot. So if you've got 100 of these deployed, you can send out the firmware update via DEX
configuration, and also at the same time, more
configuration.
More importantly, social alerts. Should something goes down, you are notified, so that you can try to resolve the issue without the problem escalating too much.
And then if we look at the increasing range here, we have got the TP models and the GP models. Again, G standing for 5G. So the GP models are 5G and the TP models are 4G. Now, in this instance, the P in the model number stands for PoE. So these are the PoE modem router versions of the 4 that we showed you on the previous slide. So everything that we said about those applies here again with the fast Ethernet and the 2.5 versus the gigabits. That applies again, but often in this case, in the case of the 314P TP, 2 of those fast Ethernet ports are PoE ports, and again with the GP, 2 of those gigabit ports are PoE LAN ports. And I think this is great because obviously this gives this model more usage, more outdoor sort of usage, more ability to provide power to devices like cameras and access points, all that out in the field, Phil. So these ones have that added flexibility of the PoE on board.
So in terms of the connectivity speeds that you get on 4G and 5G, they are identical to what we mentioned in the previous slides. As Alan kindly mentioned, highlighting the PoE side of things. If you're deploying machine-to-machine devices, whether it be a vending machine or a EV charger or anything really. The ability to take a mobile internet connection, and then on top of that to be able to connect up an additional device such as access points, access control, or surveillance camera with a single cable that connects and power that device to the internet. It's something that
it's brilliantly flexible, isn't it? Because you can use one of the ports to link to an access point, provide wireless to an outdoor area, and cover that outdoor area with a camera via the same device. So it's brilliant.
I mean, so just taking into as an example, if you do have just coming back to this, whether it's vending machine or EV charger, and you want to safeguard your investment or your property. Surveillance cameras, obviously the thing that businesses will be looking to in order to look at what's going on in terms of vandalism, in terms of people trying to steal something.
Protect those Kit Kats. It's very important.
So you can connect those devices to these M2M routers very easily. just quickly on the PoE side of things, both all the PoE ports on all four models here support PoE Plus, so it's AO2.3 AT, and yeah,
right.
and they can supply power up to 30 watts per port.
No, I mean that's more than enough to do most access points
That's correct, yeah.
and cameras. So yeah,
And
that's great.
then the PoE power budget for the devices can support those full 30 watts per port for all the PoE ports that are PoE enabled.
Yeah, more details available on the website in our M2M brochures. Or just contact us if you want any more details about these.
These devices are coming quite soon. They will be available towards the beginning of next year.
Yeah, Q1. Yep.
We have a tremendous range of M2M products that are coming.
Yeah.
As Alan mentioned, whether this DOM switches, DOM device, DOM series, that are designed for industrial IoT. Those routers will have digital and analog IOs to allow you to again monitor and control situations such as factory automation or even
there's a crazy amount that they can do, and we've also filmed a video which will be up on YouTube in a couple of weeks. Phil and myself talking through each individual model on here, so that'll be up to give you even more information in probably in 2 weeks' time. So all moving forward with industrial IoT to add to our already stacked range of industrial switches that we already do. So we have a great solution in this area. So yeah.
Just briefly to touch on the transit gateways, because I mean the transit gateway does even more. I mean the
GPS.
The devices themselves have location tracking. They have built-in wireless. So you know the amount of connectivity and functionality these M2M routers can provide is tremendous, and that they are the things that we can look forward to as we go along in 2025.
Yep. And we'll give you more details just as soon as we get them. 5G. It's now time to move on to 5G. My gosh, we've got a lot going on in 5G, Phil. There's a lot going on in the M2M world, and there's also a lot going on in the 5G world, just to back that up. First and foremost, out on the marketplace, probably about now, is the new G530 5G NR AX3000 Wi-Fi 6 router. I'm practiced at saying that, so I can now reel it off without too much thought. This is the first in the sort of G range that we're going to be having of these 5G. So there's going to be a number of models, and you can see what is basically going to be the sort of highest spec in there below it, because we've got the G572, which is BE, which is the short code for Wi-Fi 7, 7200 Wi-Fi 7 router. So basically I've shown the best model and the lowest model, but then in between we've also got a couple more models with differences to the G530 coming. So I've got a little animation video that's going to play down the side here to just show off how nice these units are and how well they will fit into most people's homes, because I think that's where we're kind of seeing these is as the sort of end of like fiber to the premises, 5G to the premises. This is the piece that you would have in your living room, and it wouldn't look out of place because of how well designed it is.
Yeah. So NR stands for new radio, in case you're wondering what NR is. I think the funny thing about these routers is that the hardware or the technology that's already inside the routers themselves supports again tremendous speeds on 5G, as you can see on the screen, up to 3.4 gigabits per second. Funnily, the bottleneck or the restrictions that stops end users and businesses getting that speed is it's mainly the infrastructure or the service provider
regulations, all sorts.
Also depending on where you are, the coverage, the 5G, the type of 5G that's been deployed. But what it does allow you is that at least the hardware that you're investing in buying a 5G NR router has the capabilities to go up to 3.4 gigabits per second. And this is as mentioned right at the beginning, without the restrictions or without you being tied down to
long contracts,
open reach or whatever fiber provider to lay the fiber.
Yeah, I read an interesting stat yesterday, which was 91% of premises in the UK are covered by 5G because they've concentrated so much on big cities, on the urban areas, but only 54% of the UK is covered overall. But 91% of premises are covered by 5G, whether it's 5G outdoor or 5G indoors. So it really is becoming a mass market product there, whereas I think the fiber stats are around 67% in the UK. And as is often joked about here, I'm still waiting for my local area to be upgraded to gigabit so I can put all of these great devices that we have to the full test. So yeah, if you're not on the gigabit postcode checker, then 5G is a great solution with those sort of coverage rates.
Yeah, despite the investment the British government is putting into building fiber infrastructure and the cost of deploying fiber coming down substantially compared to years ago. At the end of the day, putting a fiber to a premise will still be more cost a lot more than putting up cell towers to supply 5G connectivity to a very easily a large number of clients or customers. But one thing to touch upon, not just on 5G, especially for businesses, if you do have, I guess more mission critical need for the internet to be always online. These devices that you see on screen, they do provide us some failover between the gigabit WAN for a fixed line as well as a mobile connection on 5G.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than your broadband connection going down and having no solution, no Netflix. Imagine last night, Amazon Prime, the Liverpool by Leverkusen game, and your internet cuts out. You've got no option. So,
I think that's what Alan on football, but I think for businesses, because of the way that we work now with cloud applications, whether it's Office 365 or Google Suites.
But for retail, Phil, it's even more vital because of the way that they take payments. Most business, there's a lot of businesses that don't take cash, and without internet, how do they?
They can't do transactions.
Yes. So failover becomes even more vital for businesses like that. And you can forget my flippant football comment, but it's important to me.
So, I think that Alan talked about the businesses that can't do transactions if the internet goes down. I mean, this happened. This happened to me several times when you walk into a shop and they say to you, "Sorry, system is down. You can't do anything." And
think about how Primark pivoted during the lockdowns because they didn't have an online business at all, and they had to pivot into the online marketplace because businesses were shut down there. So.
One other thing to mention, not just transactions for small business. If you look at the trend of having these checkout-less stores that are becoming more and more common. If the internet goes down, that's it. We're not talking about there's nothing you can do because not only can they not do the AI part of detecting your face, tracking you around the store, transactions, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, but this the G530 also introduces the Falcon app as a new app from D-Link to manage your whole home internet, because you've got a great 5G connection coming in, but you've got a big house. One, no matter how powerful the G530 is, it's not going to cover a 14-bedroom mansion.
Or if you have a house that has
Thick insulation,
or just more solid walls and
solid walls, yes, all of those things can interfere with your signal. So for 5G to become a reality and replace your fixed line broadband, we've introduced this mesh router, which is basically a mesh extender for the main 5G unit. So the G530 brings the signal in, and the X530 will amplify that across your house. Really vital to have this product. And what this product basically is, it's basically a smaller version of the G530, that if you've got a 2 or a 3-story house, maybe you'd have 2 of these in a 3-story house, or in a 2-story house, just your G530 downstairs and the X530 upstairs, just to make sure that your house is fully meshed, and to avoid those black spots.
So just to add on top of that, you can see on screen that there's this mention of DWP1010. The thing with 5G, as much as the coverage is becoming more and more, at times it also depends on your location,
Yep.
or usually in urban areas, you will be able to get quite good reception of 5G when you're indoors in your apartments. But in more rural areas, you could benefit from having what we call an outdoor units. In our cases, a DWP 1010, whereby the outdoor units has that allows you to mount the 5G antenna externally of your building, so you get a much better reception, because you can orientate the antennas to have a better line of sight of with the nearest cellular tower. And if you do that, then what you are then able to do is to basically connect that outdoor unit to an indoor unit in the form of a router that allows you then to broadcast or to share that internet connection with wired and wireless devices within your home. The DWP 1010 is already available. I think.
Yes. Yeah.
We are.
It's available. It's available on Amazon and other sellers across the UK. With regards to the 1010, Phil, has it got wireless built in, so it will connect to the X530 without
no
an Ethernet cable?
No. The 1010 has a Ethernet, a PoE Ethernet connection.
Yes.
We do ship it with a PoE injector, so you don't have to worry about if you have a PoE switch or not at home. But with the PoE injector, you can basically connect up the DWP 1010 to the indoor unit or the router in your house with a single cable.
And you just run an Ethernet cable.
Because the unit's been designed to go outside, it doesn't come with Wi-Fi built-in, because that will be provided by the router that you have inside your house.
Excellent. 5G on the go. 5G on the go is going to be one of the major points that we're going to concentrate on. We're showing off 2 of the first 2 products that we're going to be introducing next year here, and there are many more to come in this sort of area. So D-Link's well known, and we've got 2 great 5G products out in the marketplace at the moment. But as we move forward, as we adapt, we're upgrading those to the new versions that you can see on the screen here. And what you'll also see here, and you will have seen throughout the presentation in regards to the more consumery goods, is the change in style and the change in color. You can very clearly see here the sort of new design that D-Link's going for with its new products. So what we're looking at here is a 5G USB adapter. So this will be the follow-up to the best-selling DWM222, which is obviously still available. But this will be 5G, and I think it will be fairly unique within the marketplace, because as of now, there isn't much activity in this sort of area. So we're looking forward to getting this one as soon as we can, because the 222 has been one of our best-selling products over the past few years. And then related to that, we have the F530, which is going to be an upgraded version of the DWR 2101, which everybody knows and loves. It's upgraded to AX3000, so giving it a bit more speed on the 5 gigahertz spectrum, and probably will come with a better battery, because this device doesn't have to power an LCD or LED screen. It's just the device that has the lights on the front to tell you if it's connected or not. So these devices have been designed with travel in mind, to provide people super fast internet on the go, wherever you are, wherever you stay. They're very useful to take on holiday, very useful to take when traveling, especially if you don't. If you're moving into an area that doesn't have great Wi-Fi reception, you've got your 5G dongle in the bag, or on a shared internet, and you're looking at a coffee shop, you're looking at sort of private information that you wouldn't want to share over a shared Ethernet. Just simply power up your hotspot, plug in your dongle, and there you've got your own fully protected WPA3 enabled Wi-Fi 6 connection.
Actually, don't have too much to add on top of that. I mean, as Alan says, these are again new radio devices compared to what we have already before, and effectively they've been out there an upgrade to what we our best selling 5G adapters and hotspots, and
Yeah.
especially since COVID, these things are have grown in popularity tremendously.
100%.
USB-C gives you extra bandwidth between the device and the computer, and at the same time the AX3000 allows the device to give much faster wireless connection compared to the current DWR 2101, which is a X1800.
Yep. Excellent. Wi-Fi 7. Get prepared for quite a few acronyms. Yes. So we're going to delve into Wi-Fi 7. We're not doing a deep dive, but we're going to talk broadly about the why Wi-Fi 7 is better. We've also done a video on the YouTube channel. It's about half an hour long, delving into Wi-Fi 7 on the new Aquila products that we've got coming down the line. Basically, 4.8 times faster, Wi-Fi 7, and 13 times faster than Wi-Fi 5. So if you skipped Wi-Fi 6, wait for Wi-Fi 5, because it's even faster than the previous faster. 100 times lower latency, which is absolutely crazy. 15 times better with actual or virtual reality. 5 times the network capacity. So we'll talk a little bit more about the introduction of 320 megahertz. And Phil is well trained up on multi-link operation, after correcting my mistake from the last time that I talked about multi-link operation, providing so much more capacity. So whereas 6E was a little evolution, I'd say, where it introduced the 6 megahertz spectrum, allowing you 160 megahertz on 6, Phil, I believe. Wi-Fi 7 has come in and doubled that 6 to 320.
So 6E introduced 6 gigahertz.
Yes.
6 gigahertz band. The usage of 6 gigahertz band on the wireless. 7 doubles the channel width to 320 megahertz.
And that's basically like the picture shows, doubling the lanes in a motorway.
It increases the speed by multitudes.
Yes.
But what good is the speed if the technology wasn't improved in order to make more efficient use of the channel width? If you guys are familiar before in the past where whether it's 5 or Wi-Fi 5 or Wi-Fi 6, when a particular channel width is used or if there are interferences, you run into a lot of trouble when it comes to wastage of the channel width because if there are interference, you tend to get stuck with only 40 or 80. You don't get or even devices that are connected to. If you get one device that's connected to 80, it means that another device cannot make full use of the channel.
Yeah.
So to build on top of this, I think multi-user MIMO is something that we have become quite familiar with, even since the wireless AC Wi-Fi days, where the router can talk to multiple devices at the same time. But because of Wi-Fi 7, the number of streams are much more. It allows you to more devices to be connected simultaneously.
Yeah.
And if I don't know if you can flip to the next slide.
Yep. Preamble puncturing.
So preamble puncturing and also the use of something that's not listed here, the multi-resource units, whereby the different the chunks of the channel width out of 320 megahertz are divided. They can be divided into 2040, 80, 160. Before in the past, when something is that interferes with your Wi-Fi, it means that the rest of the channel becomes unavailable, as you can see on top as shown on the top right of the screen. What preamble puncturing does is that it effectively punches out that unavailable channel, but still still makes the unaffected channels available.
Yeah.
Multi-resource units allows you to allows the device or the router and the devices, Wi-Fi 7 devices, to combine those segments of channels to still optimize the connection speed that you get from the router without wastage. I think effectively of the whole channel.
But the MLO or the multi-link operation is probably my favorite upgrade.
I mean,
Wi-Fi 7.
On top of already this the multi-resource units usage that maximizes the channel width of 6 gigahertz. I'll let Alan you talk about your favorite bit.
Well, I mean, I tried to explain this on the video, but because I thought the multi-link operation was the combination of two Wi-Fi bands, but in actual fact, multi-link operation is the combination of three wireless frequency bands at the same time. So that allows your devices when you're roaming around your home or to be connected to all three bands at the same time. And one of the advantages of that is obviously more speed, more channel width, and everything. But the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum has a much further transmission than the 6 gigahertz spectrum, for instance. So the 6 gigahertz spectrum will be the fastest, but it also has the shortest transmission speed. So by linking to all of those devices at the same time, especially if you're wandering or if the device is a certain distance away, then you're just going to get just increased speed, less interference and everything by just being across all three, and teaming them up with the other bits that Phil talks about, the preamble puncturing, which I always explain as the little box that pops up on Netflix that allows you to skip the intro sequence. That's kind of what it is. It just takes you straight into the program. And that's kind of what preamble puncturing does, is my easiest way to do it. So all of these things combined together, they just set us up for what is 100% a revolution in Wi-Fi as opposed to the evolution to 6E.
So we've come a long ways when it comes to the bands, the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz. In the old days, you had to choose one or the other to connect to. And the 2.4 will give you wider range but slow speed. 5 gigahertz will give you higher speed, but maybe not as far
Don't have to
range.
choose anymore.
Then we had band steering where the routers will give you, to direct you, so you didn't have different, Wi-Fi or SSIDs to connect to. And now with multi-link operation, Wi-Fi 7 effectively can amalgamate all three bands to give you, that extra range or extra speed, no matter what your environment is, and you don't have to worry about what to do because it will do automatically to give you the best range and the best speed.
And that's always been the thing, isn't it, Phil? So we've always had an AX3000 router, but 600's on the 2.4 and 2.4 is on the 500, so it never really gets to
what we used to refer to as combined wireless speeds.
Combined wireless speeds,
what different devices can connect to, but it's not the your phone, your laptop cannot onto Wi-Fi 7 cannot connect to both of those spans simultaneously at the same time.
Well, I think that's why we are just getting into the Wi-Fi 7 marketplace now, because more devices are coming out that work on Wi-Fi 7. So we can see there our new M95 Wi-Fi 7 BE 9500 router with all of the stats and tricks on the screen there that you see. And the wireless speed of 9500, as we just mentioned, is actually achievable by devices, whereas before it never was. So six internal antennae. 2 for each of the spectrums. It works in extended mode, bridge mode. It is one of our mesh products. So you can buy this because this will be the big beast of the Wi-Fi 7 range. And then we will have an M36, which we're not showing today, but that can act as an extender. And obviously what that will do is it will extend the signal around your home, but it's not as fast or not as expensive as the M95, giving you a solution to save a little bit of money there. And the important bit down the bottom, because we love 2.5 gigabit, 2.5 gigabit LAN, 2.5 gigabit WAN and 4 2.5 gigabit LAN ports included on the device, thus making it essential to have a multi-gigabit switch with it.
It's funny because normally when we come to slides like this, and one of us would have to jump in and start telling you, oh, the 9500 megabits per second is broken down into 688 for 2.4, 2880 for 5, and 5760 for 6.
But Phil knows that off the top of his head, by the way.
But because of the multi-link operation, it actually means it's a bit meaningless now, because the single speed is what
it's achievable.
With a compatible Wi-Fi 7 device.
Yeah, but that's the key, and as I said, that's why we haven't been so active in the Wi-Fi 7 market as yet, because there aren't many Wi-Fi 7 compatible devices. But they are coming now. More and more are coming now. My laptop is just been upgraded to 6E, but I'm going to have to wait a long time before I get a Wi-Fi 7 laptop from work.
I think the latest iPhones and
are they going to be 7?
They are. I think starting to ship with 7 already.
Yeah, that's great. The access point that we didn't talk about earlier, the DAP E9560.
Yeah.
9560, yes. Sorry, I couldn't see the top of the screen then. So this is the one we were going to talk about earlier. 10 gigabit LAN, Phil, which is absolutely amazing. Obviously powered by PoE, but I did notice USB-C power for this one as well. So is that common on our access points, USB-C power?
No, that will be a first.
That's what I assume. So again, some really, really cool stuff coming here, and obviously the rest of the sort of stuff that Wi-Fi 6 introduced. But 2 very, very strong these are the top of the range Wi-Fi 7 models, and then there will be some smaller, lower sort of speed Wi-Fi 7 models available as well. As obviously it's tri-band 2x2x2. So again, like with the router, 2 antennas dedicated to each channel as we go.
So the router before is again, I guess designed more for prosumers and people that are looking, for latest technology.
It's a bad boy gaming router,
Yeah.
Phil.
Whereas this the DAP E9560, as well as I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
there will be a DBR version of this. They are more they're designed for businesses where the DAP product will be manageable through our Nucleus
Connect.
Nucleus platform, and the DBR will be manageable through the BL range of business routers. But to optimize that connectivity of 9500 Mbps on the wireless, this device comes with 10 gigabit LAN.
Wow, that's crazy.
To allow you to minimize bottlenecks within your network.
Yeah, and as Phil mentioned, Nucleus there very briefly. We will probably be back next year with an update on the Nucleus platform. Changes afoot. We don't have firm details there, but some very, very exciting stuff happening in that area. Last couple of slides now, because I know I've kept you for longer than the time, so we'll whiz through. But design change, the wonderful home background you can see there, all clean lines, white. Everything fits into its lovely place, and we'd like to think that a G530 router or an M95 would fit very well into that. But to add to that, what ostensibly we are doing is redesigning the current range to fit in with the new design, and you can see some images here. Sorry if it's not the best high resolution quality on your screen there. But what we've basically got here is 3 existing products that will have their model number changed slightly in terms of DWR932, becoming the DWR932W, which W stands for white, and the same for the DWM222, whereas the DW8X1850 is changing to the AX18U. Which is just a change, an internal change to probably limit the number of letters and acronyms that Phil and I have to memorize on a daily basis to keep up with the program and all of the new products that we've got. So the only real change to these 3 products is that the AX18U, as you can see there, that's a flip-up antenna where the D-Link branding is. So that will give you even better reception than the current model. But all of these devices are very minor changes from the range that we've got, and there will also be more changes in this area where we move to this new sort of design set going forwards.
So I mean, I think one of the main reasons for the design of the color scheme change is to give our customers, the instant recognizability that when they see a product, it's from D-Link.
Yep.
To integrate that DNA into all the products that we're bringing out, especially in the consumer space.
Yeah. Now we've got some stuff that we're going to talk about very briefly, because we don't have a full set of details here, except for the Soho router on the far left there. These are all devices that we will be bringing out next year. We're currently receiving more and more details on these, which are making us more and more excited about the ability to sell these moving forwards. They're not way off. We are looking Q1 for some, Q2 for most in this sort of area. And as Phil and I looked at these products, we did realize that D-Link has dipped its toe in similar areas in the past. So we don't want to put this out there as this is some kind of a crazy departure for us. But with certain devices that are on here, we're certainly going to have to subscribe to a couple of different market reports where we currently haven't played in the past. So for instance, we do have a very successful range of USB-C hubs or docking stations, as you can see on the screen there. So these are going to be fuller, more expensive office-based or full home-based solutions. Some of them looking at USB 4.0, and we'll also be adding, not pictured, but we will also be adding some great options in the USB-C hub range, including some fun HDMI capability on certain hubs moving forward. So really excited about these. They look great. Two different models there, two different sort of aspect ratios, I call it, if you want the horizontal or the verticals. And I'm getting back into the DAS arena. Phil knows much more about D-Link's exploits in DAS and NAS in the past than I do. But then moving into two sort of more newer areas such as wireless HDMI and then the GAN chargers. And I think one of the things about here that this slide kind of talks about is the ability for D-Link to offer you everything that you need. So for instance, you want to buy a D-Link USB-C powered 5G hotspot, you can plug it into your D-Link branded GAN charger, and so we can offer you this all as an ecosystem that obviously all works together and functions straight out of the box.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the aim here is to as more and more people are working wherever, whether it's at home or hot desking, it's to have these devices that are designed to already work with each other. So as Alan mentioned, whether it's powering, charging a router or adding storage to that router to be shared, or adding wireless display capabilities onto a docking station that allows you to throw up your computer screen onto another screen, to allow you to work easier, to work more efficient and more effective. But these devices, as Alan said, I think we will be rolling them out throughout 2025.
Yep. More details as we get them. We will of course keep you informed as we love to do. As much as us learning more and more about these marketplaces, which we've been doing over the past couple of days to pull together to get ready for the launches, but very firmly penciled in for 2025. So some exciting times. Especially if you sell D-Link consumer products, where there seems to be a lot of new things that are on the horizon there. So that is the end. As I've said, it was a quick dive, slightly longer than we perhaps planned, into what's coming up new for 2025. If there are any questions, I've seen that there's Mark was due to be on the call with us today, but unfortunately Mark's off LFIL. I see Mark's been answering some of the questions for us in the chat, so thanks to Mark for handling those. If you do have anything, you can put them in the chat, or we do have the details up on screen there for UKI-sales@dlink.com. Those emails come into the whole team, so we'll get straight on to answer that. Or if you're a little bit old school now and prefer a landline, 0208955900. Or if there's any product that you're interested, you can jump onto the website eu.dlink.com or www.dlink.com now, because we've just become one whole company website, and there is a live chat on there which will be manned by our Salesforce team that will be eager to help you out and provide you with any information needed. I'm just going to have a quick whiz through to see if there's any comments that require us to ask, because I think, like I said, Mark's done a sterling job about that. Yeah, I see there's some talk about 5G in there. Mark's Art's kind of handled that. So I think that's pretty much us done for the webinar now. Like I say, follow up with any questions. And the meeting has been recorded. It will be going up on the YouTube channel. So feel free, if you want to subject yourself to it, to sit through and listen to me and Phil for another hour and 10 minutes of your life, if you like. It will be up in the next few days or so. So all that's left is for me to say thanks very much for joining. Look out for another webinar or two in Q1, where hopefully we'll bring you even more information on some of the stuff that we have shown you today but haven't had full details on. Thanks a lot then.
Thank you very much.
Bye now.